beyond the conversations on gender, one of the things that hit me when it comes to this material is its representation of the people living with HIV in the 90s, how it was during that time. Now that we are staging it, what new perspectives do we have considering the development in our peer HIV communities? You know, as well as yung death sentence at that time versus, you know, the quality of life that we are offering to our PLHD community. What do you think could be a message of a restaging of Rent in 2020?
I'm the ambassador for Love Yourself PH. We just worked on something new, which is really cool. I want to introduce it to you. It's called Mochi. It's this program where they will follow individuals through like a 3-month process, and they will actually get PrEP or injections, a new form of contraceptive for HIV. And it's just great to note how it has evolved through time, how in the past it was a death sentence and now you can live a beautiful life, even live with a partner who has HIV but is not detectable because they're taking their pills. If you take your PrEP, usually take your PrEP, take 1 or 2 before sexual activity, 2 hours before, 1 the day after, and 1 the day after. And 99.67% you won't get it. And it's always important to get yourself tested, and it's absolutely free. You can get your self-tested and Love Yourself ship, Red Whistle, and they provide you with the pills for free. Unlike other countries, especially first world countries, they have to buy their product. But here, they actually give it to you. The government helps out, and a lot of the countries that are trying to help this, you know, to spread out the word have been helping out. And that's why the prevalence has gone down. And it's great to see so many people who are living with HIV come out and step forward, especially on X, formerly Twitter or Instagram, and they're just very open about it, so that other people may also protect themselves, whether it be through condoms, whether it be through pills, whether it be if you already have HIV to take the medication required to sustain your HIV so that it doesn't evolve into AIDS. And it's just great to note that we have reached that level of understanding. But in the Philippines, since sex ed isn't prevalent in a lot of schools, there are a lot of people who are still scared. The taboo is there. And therefore, they go out and they have their sex discreetly. They don't tell anyone about it. They don't tell their families. They're starting to get sick. They're getting lesions. They don't know why. And suddenly they just die of some unknown disease. And their parents don't want to talk about it because it's a taboo. But it's very important to note that the more we talk about it, like this musical, the more people will know and the more people will protect themselves from possibly contracting it, instead of fearing the fact that they're going to be looked down upon by their friends and family members. They will be there and stand strong and say, yes, I am sexually active, I was sexually active, and now I will treat myself, or I will take precautions just in case I have unprotected sex in the future, not to get the virus. So that's what we're trying to do, I guess, in RENT, to continue to spread the message to each and every single one of the individuals out there that now you can live a full, productive life, but just protect yourself, get yourself tested, have fun.
Can I add to that? In terms of how we're tackling the HIV/AIDS issue. A few years ago, when the pandemic was after the height of the pandemic, I pitched a movie that tackled the pandemic, COVID. And the producers at that time said, you know what? We don't want to be reminded about it. So let's not do a movie about COVID and how it affected, because we just went through it. When this musical came out, they didn't want to talk about AIDS. So the show is written with AIDS as a backdrop. It's not discussed, it's not in your face, it's characters who have it, that's it. We purposefully made the decision to show not only its effect on each of the cast members, in each of the characters, but also the causes, primarily sex and drugs, drug sharing. So in terms of showing what it did to them, there's the physical and then there's the emotional. And that's what we have been working really hard on to showcase as the enveloping problem of this society back in this time when it was set in the early 90s. So there is that conscious effort that we're all doing in terms of educating the new generation of audiences that it's not just a background. It wasn't just a background. It's really what shaped their lives at that time. It's really what influenced their decisions and why they decided to live the way they did. And also how it affected them when, when the inevitable happened, like death, or when it makes you weak or whatever. It's all there. We're not changing anything in terms of text or music or interpretation, nothing. We're just really showing it more in your face. So it's a grittier production. Yeah, that's the key word. It's gonna be grittier. With that in mind, we also want to educate the present audience.
Can I add to that as well? When Robbie and I was talking about earlier when we were like brainstorming on how to do this,
Or why we would do it.
Yeah. We said, yeah, it is a period piece, and since it's a licensed production, we cannot change text really. So what we needed to do was look for the gems and make it resonate to the audience now. And like what Robbie said, coming from the pandemic, the isolation, the anxiety, and the mental health of what we went through recently is actually the most resonant for us. A disease that was at the time a death sentence is very resonating. It's a very resonant memory, a sense memory to us, because we just got through 3 years of not knowing what was happening, really. So Robbie and I said, okay, there's a parallelism here. We cannot change text, but we want to underline the similarity, also of being, aside from the the physical manifestations of AIDS, really, because AIDS now is not a death sentence, but it's the mental issue, it's the mental anxiety and the stress of something that you don't know, and you don't realize that you're like your relationships change, and the way you the way your mental health becomes smaller and smaller in your mind, really. So and the beauty about Rent is it's community, that you hold each other's hand, and that's also resonant for us also here right now. So we're looking for parallelisms, and we're highlighting it without changing the text, because we cannot. But yeah, it's grittier because we can show things. However, also we have to take into consideration the period, because it cannot be, because we're still in the 1990s. So it's a very careful collaboration between the actors, our actors, and the creative staff in terms of trying to figure it out and trying to find out where and how we can underline or push back and stuff like that. And of course, since it was in the 90s, within the 90s, there's so much political incorrectness that's in the play. I mean, yeah. So we are careful about that as well, being sensitive to our audiences now.
And sorry, I just want to add. There was an article that came out 2 days ago. It basically cured a couple of people of HIV, like completely.
Yeah.
So it's going in a really good direction, and it just came out very recently that there is going to be a very, very, very soon a way to cure this virus. So it's great that it's coming now, where there's a cure that's actually being invented, which is fantastic.
Yeah, we also make this conscious effort because the conscious effort of telling about AIDS because it's still here. It's just being swept even more, as Marky pointed out.
Because also because of the taboo and the
Yeah.
stigma.
It's still there.
I mean, we've had some friends who, up to now, their families are still in denial that they had AIDS. Yeah. It was like whoa, or whatever, some opportunistic disease, which happens really because your immune system is low. Those are things that we want to see. However, we cannot really change the text, so we're looking at ways to put that forward as well. But at least the conversation happens.
Yeah.
And giving ways to create that conversation to happen after they watch a show. Really.
I just want to add also, it's important that the press help Nine Works because it's so good that Nine Works is restaging Red during this time. Kasi nga, it's the issue of HIV and AIDS. They've been swept under the rug here in the Philippines so much. Now before, the age group that was affected by HIV the most was 25 years old to 36 years old. And now, since 2018 or 2019, ang age group na na-affected ngayon is 15 years old to 24 years old. So pababa yung mga kaso ng nai-infect. So, sana mas maraming manood na Gen Z dito sa Red so that they can be educated. And actually, yung parents yung pinakamahalaga for me kasi dapat sila yung nag-i-encourage sa mga anak nila na magpa-test kasi you will never know how you will treat yourself if you don't get yourself tested. I have friends who died from HIV and AIDS and they didn't need to die, And so it's very important for all of us to keep on talking about it, keep the ball rolling about this issue.